Hi, today we're going to talk about Harry Potter and theology. I'm Reverend Emmanuel from Houston, Texas. A week ago I did a video on obedience and freedom. In that I made a reference to Harry Potter, and I wanted to kind of expand on that a little bit and do a video exclusively on Harry Potter and kind of an important theological idea that comes up in Harry Potter. So in Harry Potter, in the very first book, the Sorcerer's Stone, at the very end, when Harry Potter is going into the trapdoor to meet with Quirrell, he's afraid that Voldemort may be there, and he and Hermione are having this dialogue. Harry Potter tells Hermione, "I'm not as good as you," said Harry, very embarrassed as she let go of him. To which Hermione replies, "Me, books and cleverness. But there are more important things, friendship and bravery," right? So Hermione is saying, "Oh, I'm good at books and cleverness, but when it comes to friendship and bravery, Harry Potter is the best." And that's a very important phrase, because you see, when Dumbledore is comparing Harry to Voldemort, a key point he brings up again and again is that Voldemort never had friends growing up. Voldemort was always a lonely kid, whereas Harry Potter had friends with him, Hermione and Ron and a group of other people, right? So Dumbledore's main point was to try to make sure that Harry always had friends, and he was always paying attention to how Harry related with his friends. In fact, when in book 5, when Sirius Black dies and Harry is distraught, Dumbledore tells him, "Hey, this is really great that you care about people around you, because that is what makes you human." You see, this idea of friendship has a very important theological grounding to it, because from a Christian perspective, we look at God as Trinity, right? As three persons, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in one Godhead. And that is important because our idea of God as Trinity includes community within Trinity. For there to be a God of love, there has to be sharing, right? If we were to say God is just only one at the very top, then before creation came into being, who was God loving? Was he just loving himself, which becomes a form of kind of self-love, which can become very narcissistic at times? So for God to be a God of love, there has to be sharing within Godhead, which is why God as Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, creates the possibility of love being the ultimate grounding of kind of God's kind of attribute. So in Harry Potter, you see again kind of a form of a Trinity in the sense that there's three people, like Harry, Hermione, and Ron, who form a deep friendship. And ultimately it is out of that deep friendship and that deep community is where their ability to defeat Voldemort comes. Voldemort, on the other hand, has no friends. He's alone, he's by himself, and so he doesn't care about people at all. He uses people to gain power for himself, and that is kind of who Voldemort is. There is a philosopher called Martin Buber. He said, when it comes to how people relate with one another, there is a way of relating that he calls I-it way of relationship, which is you use the other person for your own benefit. And then there is kind of the I-you relationship, in which it is not about using the other person for your own benefit. It is about making yourself available for the benefit of the other person. And that aspect takes bravery. And that's why there's the second aspect of bravery that Hermione talks about in book 1. Harry, you're good with friendship and with bravery. So that starts with Sorcerer's Stone, and the theme of bravery and friendship again gets picked up all the way through the books, but especially in the Deathly Hallow, right? So in Deathly Hallow, Harry realizes that he needs to die for the sake of his friends. He has to go alone, face Voldemort alone in the Forbidden Forest, and he knows that Voldemort is going to kill him at that point. And at this point, he's thinking about his parents who died, and he thinks his parents were in some ways fortunate that their death was instantaneous. It wasn't like Harry Potter, who had to kind of walk all the way through the forest alone by himself and having to face his death. And he actually says he envied his parents' death now. This cold-blooded walk to his own destruction would require a different kind of bravery. So for him to get to a place of saying, okay, I am going to die for the sake of my friends, requires a deeper form of bravery. In fact, the whole point of Dumbledore training Harry Potter is to get him to this point where he will be willing to die for his friends. In John chapter 15, verses 14 and 15, Jesus says, "Greater love has no one than this, than to give his own life for his friends." You see, that is a deep form of bravery that comes when somebody truly, truly loves another person. And that is the Christ-like way of loving. When J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter series, at the end of book 3, she gave an interview in which the interviewer asked her, is there a way in which, in what way does your faith affect the way you write these books? And she said, I cannot tell you how my faith affects the way I write, because if I did that, then I would be giving up the ending of the book. Because you see, at the end of the book, Harry Potter becomes a Christ-like figure. He goes and he gives his life for his own friends, and in the process, he dies and then resurrects. And it is that process that ultimately defeats evil, Voldemort, and creates love and peace, a community of love and peace, which fulfills this Christ-like archetype, right? So that's the aspect of friendship and bravery coming together, ultimately in displaying a form of Christ-like love. So again, to kind of summarize, from a theological perspective, what we value here is the sense of valuing community and love and friendship, which we are given because we are made in God's image. And God being Trinitarian, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, we are people that come alive when we love and care for people around us. And at times, an aspect of loving and caring for people around us means we are expected to be Christ-like, to be brave in being self-sacrificial for the sake of loving people around us. So those are kind of two theological aspects that you get from kind of Harry Potter, at least in terms of friendship and bravery. And there are multiple other theological themes that comes in Harry Potter, which I hopefully will cover in another video on a different time. But anyways, so that's kind of all of it for today about theology in Harry Potter. So if you like my video, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll keep doing more videos of this sort. Anyways, until I see you in another video, goodbye. Have a good day.